This is not a time for vegan smoothies. This is the time for some stronger stuff in this moment of Big Brother YouTube dropping the machete. So could you just explain to the audience what happened? Give us the timeline. What were some of the content or, quote, harmful content you were doing before you get an email from YouTube that, you know, they're stripping you of revenue?
Well, it happened Monday. To me, I got hit Monday. It happened in the afternoon for me, where I just logged onto YouTube and saw this. You've been demonetized, and then brought up that warning or that thing that says, all it said was harmful content. And I clicked on it, and they just gave me their vague terms of service. They didn't say you said this on this video at this time. Leading up to that, Lee Camp and I do a podcast called Government Secrets. We stream it live on my show. We're actually doing it later today. And then he puts the video on his YouTube, and I put it on my YouTube, and we also release it as a podcast. So the last 2 episodes, Lee's been doing a 3-part series on the JFK assassination, referencing this book. I forget the author's book. That really goes into a lot of the forensic evidence that shows JFK. It just completely blows away the single bullet theory, and they altered X-ray, all this stuff, right? So when he put his up on his channel, YouTube then put this notice right below it saying something, I forget it was, like fake news, like this is incorrect. Lee Harvey, Wikipedia states Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone shooter. So Lee sent me that text, and he was like, "Is this happening to yours?" I'm like, They didn't do it to mine for whatever reason, my posting of the video of it, but so that was happening, and then both of us dropping the Government Secrets episode about JFK, both of our numbers were clearly throttled. I mean, those episodes usually get 3,000 to 5,000 on both of our platforms. They were getting like barely 1,000, right? And then all last week, I've been covering, as I'm sure you have too, like what happened with GameStop and Robinhood. And I've been showing Janet Yellen, got $810,000 from Citadel. I showed that where Jen Psaki wouldn't answer the direct question of should she recuse herself. And so I was doing videos like that. Nothing crazy. I'm not advocating violence or anything like that. And that's the thing about, and this when dealing with YouTube, which is owned by Google, there's no recourse. And they just said, you can appeal on March 3rd. And I was just like, wait, what? And so I posted that screen grab on Monday night on Twitter. And I said, this is what happened. I said, I think it might have to do with Lee Camp and I. And so I woke up in the morning Tuesday, and a bunch of people were like, oh man. And that day, you and I were on Jimmy's show. You hadn't been hit yet, but they had taken off your live stream. And then really it was just a domino effect from Tuesday into Wednesday. Kim Iverson texted me, and she's like, hey, how can I help? And then she started going, oh man, this show. And then it was, Wednesday was when I think you guys and a bunch of the other shows got taken out. And I don't know, how many shows are we at now? Over 10, 12, something like that? I've lost track of how Big Brother has censored us. So they have to go into the specifics. So for the audience who might not be aware of this, so my YouTube show, as I'm sure with yours and everybody else's, I make money from the ads that play on the clips. And then a big part of my business is I live stream 4 or 5 days a week, and the super chats, right? So I can't make money off super chats. They pulled the ads. And also, if you're a YouTube premium member, when you watch anybody's, if you watch yours, show, mine, Jimmy, whomever, when you pay for YouTube premium, you're paying to not have to see ads, but they've figured out whenever a YouTube premium member watches one of our videos, we get a little bit of money for that too. That's all gone. And they took, there's no ads playing on my entire channel. I mean, I've been doing Political Vigilante for 4 years. We're talking in the neighborhood of something like 2,500 videos. None of them can have ads now. None. And I knew this was going to happen. I mean, we all kind of have seen this happen. We've all seen videos. I mean, just the last couple years, I put something out about the war in Yemen or Syria, just putting those words in the title, they would say, oh, we're going to limit the ads or no ads at all. I had a live stream cut last April. They just cut it. I've had some videos pulled down, all within the last year leading up to this. So it's really like, you know, Big Brother, I mean, literally they can just do this. And I'm really tired of the like, well, we're a private company. No, you're not. It's literally like if Google owned a park, and Google, it was their park, it was their property. And on that park, they invited people to come and talk and discuss things and have, you know, put up videos and have political debates on that park. And then suddenly they said, oh, you can't come to the park. You can't come to the park. You can't come to the park. No, not anymore. It's everybody's park now. So it should be, it's scary. And, you know, we talked, you know, you were on my show, or we talked right around a day or two after what happened at the Capitol, and what happened at the Capitol was awful. But we were all worried, oh, they're going to use this, you know, for Patriot Act 2.0. And I don't know if they're going to write a new Patriot Act, but they're already using it. I mean, we've seen how these big tech companies can do whatever they want. And the thing that bothers me is what Trump incited, the people that went there. There's already laws on the books for what he did. You can't like people, like freedom of speech doesn't mean you can just say whatever. There's protected speech and not protected speech. I can say, I hope you die. That's protected speech. If I say, I'm going to kill you, that's not protected. That's a threat. If I say, hey, everybody, go get them, that's not protected speech.
And since YouTube's algorithm can't distinguish, Graham isn't actually saying he's going to kill anyone. I just want to make that clear.
Yes, exactly. This is hypothetical, you Google robots.
Yes.
So like, and you know, there's a case to be made. Did Trump incite a riot? Did he not? Well, that's what the courts are for. And you know, him and Giuliani have a right to hire whatever hillbilly Nazi, you know, they want to represent them in court, and the prosecutors can prove their case. And this is what this is. And a whole group of people get to weigh in on it right now. You know, just whatever. Jack Dorsey at Twitter can just pull people down, and there's no like. I don't get like. Well, I do get it. There's already laws on the books. Just use those. But this to me just feels like more of it's just more like censorship, they want more control, because now, and I was talking to Jimmy Dore on the phone today, and he was like, man, this sucks. And I go, yeah. And he goes, Graham, I already kind of self-censor. Like we all kind of do that now because you're afraid. I don't want to put Yemen in the title. I don't want to put this or that in the title, or
I didn't put YouTube in the title because I knew if I did, who knows?
Right. So that's self-censoring now. We're all like, and it's really scary because, you know, again, everything that happened at the Capitol, the DOJ and the FBI are arresting people, as well they should, because clear laws were broken. You can't smash windows. You can't show up the Capitol building with a gun. And if your social media says, you know, and they're using people's social media where they said, I'm going to the Capitol, we're getting a gun, we're going to take this country back. Okay, there's evidence. That's, again, it's the same thing if I'm like on my social media going, again, Google, hypothetical, let's go rob this bank. Here's how we're going to rob this bank. And I rob a bank. Well, then now they have evidence to prosecute me for committing a felony. So it's already on the books. They don't need to just, you know, and this is the problem, like just yanking Parler. I was never going to go on Parler. It's not for me. I mean, like, I don't like Alex Jones. I never watched him. I never subscribed to him. And if anybody, again, as I'm talking about here, says something that is not protected speech, that is against the law, then prosecute that person on that instance. But now they're really encouraging me and all of us to just make, you know, cat videos, or if I just did surf videos and smoothie recipes, they're not going to hit me.
Well, I also think that there's so many infuriating elements here, but specifically it seems to be tied to you doing JFK assassination videos. This is an entire industry. The single bullet theory, which Maybe I'll be demonetized for uttering the phrase. There has been documentaries on this. There has been a gazillion books on this. I remember 2020 on ABC did a documentary on this. Oliver Stone has done countless movies, documentaries on this. This is not some lunatic fringe on the internet. This is an open question. And by the way, if the last poll that I saw among Americans, it wasn't 90% of people felt that Lee Harvey Oswald was the sole shooter. It was closer, I think, to like 50, 60%. So the point is, what you're talking about, it's not harmful. It's something that's been openly, there's content galore over this from experts, ballistic experts. We all saw, I believe CBS or ABC or one of them hired X amount of marksmen to try and do that shot, to try and actually get off, I think it was 3 shots in 6 seconds, and they couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. So essentially, and I was talking to Jamal Thomas about this, YouTube is contradicting itself. And when we say YouTube, let's be clear, Google owns the world and owns YouTube. On one end, we're not a publisher, so don't regulate us. But on the other end, your content's harmful. You're not adding enough context into the content. We don't like the topics you're doing. You're advancing claims. Well, those are decisions publishers make, not platforms. Publishers, i.e. editors, make at news outlets. So if YouTube, i.e. Google, wants to say Graham Elwood's content is, quote, harmful, or I don't know, not enough context is added, which who the hell is Google to be determining context for content, then they need to be regulated because they're not a platform, they're a publisher.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, that's such an excellent point. I mean, like, if they're going to demonetize me for me and Lee Camp talking about the most disputed assassination of the last 100 years, I mean, like, the most, like you said, all these experts have been talking about JFK since it happened in 1963. Then, I mean, they get to deplatform anybody. I mean, the woman that asked, Jen Psaki that question about is Janet Yellen, is it a conflict of interest? Is she pushing a conspiracy theory? Is anybody who's just saying, like, all of the not leaked, but even just Freedom of Information Act documents that show all the things the CIA has done, Operation Paperclip, Operation Mockingbird. This is matter of public information. Lee and I have talked about that on our show too. Is that harmful? Letting the American people see Freedom of Information Act documents showing what the CIA has been doing in the name of American democracy the last 60, 70 years? Like, when does this stop? And, this like shutting everybody down. Again, the laws are on the books. If you're a Klan member, neo-Nazi organization, and you're advocating to go kill non-whites or Jews or whatever, that's a crime. That's a crime. You can't do that. If you're just going to say, hey, the white race is superior, you have the right to say that. I have the right to say you're offensive, you're a bunch of dumb hillbilly crackers. I have the right to say that. Neither one of us have the right to say we're going to kill each other or whatever. So it's like, and all this like mass censorship, first of the right, and now they're coming after the left. But I mean, honestly, historically in this country, they've really gone after the left. I think this was happening well before Trump even got into office. It was happening well before the Capitol. And I mean, look, they put Eugene Debs in jail just for trying to run as a socialist, just for trying to run for president as a socialist. They put him in jail. So this country has a long history of any lefty socialists. They take us out. I mean, Fred Hampton, you name it. Fred Hampton, committed the egregious crime of trying to unite whites and blacks together and realizing that this is a class issue. That's what capitalism creates racism. So, it's unelected tech billionaires which have been working with the CIA. Julian Assange's book, When WikiLeaks Met Google, shows this. And we know, this, from, public domain information of donations. Big tech has really paid a lot of money to get the favor of the Democratic Party, which is now in power.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.